So did you know this was my main secret in my early days to make millions of dollars in real estate? We're going to show you right now how to find private money for real estate. Here we go. You know, to buy real estate, you need money, okay? You need it. So I'm going to show you in this video, you got to watch it till the end because I'm going to tell you how I got money, almost 100% of the property purchase price in terms of loans and all the money to fix it up. I mean, it was crazy, but those loans may be available to you and I'll show you how you can get them. I'm going to show you how to find private money lenders within minutes on the internet. And I'm going to show you my personal secrets for using private money and how I've used them to buy lots of property recently in order to make money. In fact, this last deal, over $1 million in equity when the appraisal came back, buying 11 properties for around $2 million, appraised at 3.4. So let's go, here we go. So I speak to brokers on a regular basis and I asked this one broker, so who are people using these days for private money? And he revealed to me a company that I've done over 35 loans with. And I'm about to do a loan with them right now. So one of the ways that you can get who is active in the marketplace and lending money on private money is to ask brokers who sell a lot of property. In my case, this was one of the top brokers in the San Francisco Bay Area who sells a lot of property and is constantly marketing. And so by communicating with brokers, they'll tell you, well, this borrower used this lender and this buyer used that lender and everybody's using this lender to fix things up. So it'll give you an idea of who's active in the marketplace right now. So that's way number one. Way number two is I go on the internet. So recently I'm building new homes in Arizona and I didn't have a lender in Arizona. I primarily do a lot of investing in other states. And in Arizona, where I'm building new homes with a partner of mine who's a developer, I didn't know who to borrow from. There was a bunch of lots that became available and I wanted to get as many as I could because I thought they were way underpriced, and turns out I was right. I had to find somebody who lends on land. So some of you may remember Pat McCormick at Dialing for Dollars. Most of you probably know enough. And he used to sit there and he'd go through the phone book and he would just dial a random number and offer people money. That was the whole show, right? It was called Dialing for Dollars. Well, in the same way as Pat did the Dialing for Dollars decades ago, Paul does Dialing for Dollars on a regular basis. I'll call and look for people who have money and ask them these questions. 1, what's your loan fees? 2, how many points do you charge? 3, what's your interest rate? 4, what do you need from me? Like bank statements, tax returns, property, real estate contract, okay? I basically am shopping for their terms to lend their money. They'll usually give you a little range, okay? They'll ask me questions. What's your experience? What's the money for? What are you doing? Where's the property? In Arizona, the first person I called, they didn't work out. They were kind of like it was not a match. And so I made some other calls. And I did this within, half an hour. And I called this one person. I thought they were going to be good. And then in the end, they decided they didn't like the deal. And guess what? I got somebody else to do it. And they funded the deal and it closed. That was for money for land. A different lender is lending money to build the homes, right? I built the first home on cash. Now this lender is giving me money to build 3 of them at once. Okay, the loan's going to be about $1 million. So the appraisals came back at around $550 each. Even though the home hasn't been built, we get an appraisal of what it is based on plans and they lend the money. You follow? So depending on what you need the money for and what you're going to do, use different lenders. Now, right now, I'm about to close next week, 11 properties that I bought, and I did a bulk purchase where I purchased all of them. I found out this investment group had some properties for sale. I figured out they had 11 of them, and I bought all of them at once. Called a bulk sale or bulk purchase. So this lender that I've used for all these little homes is going to do the loan, is going to lend me 85% of the purchase price, and as well, most of the money I need to fix them up. Well, there's a win-win, right? So when the appraisals came in, because they appraised everything, repaired value, or ARV, after repaired value, was 3.5. Current value was about 2.9. I'm paying 2.1. You see there? So this is where the private money, even though it's a little more expensive, I'm paying about 7%, 8% interest on the money, which some of you may be think that's high. To me, that's cheap, because back in the day, I used to pay 11 and 12% and 3, 4, 5 points or percentages of the loan amount. So 1 point on 100,000 would be 1,000. 3 points would be 3,000 or 3%, right? So this is an opportunity for you to get money from private lenders. How do you find them? One of the ways is to go right to the internet and call in the local area and find out what people are offering and how they do stuff, okay? And that will give you a quick, what I would say, assessment of what people are lending money for and what the price is in that market for what you want to do. Another way to find private money for real estate investing is to simply ask people who have money. I have one investor that lends me money. They're in their 70s. They trust me. They know my track record. They lent me $100,000 on one deal, $350,000 on another, $250,000 on another. I think the first loan he ever did me was about $90,000. It was to buy a house in 2012 that I fixed up. This is a private individual that writes a check. He charges me 6% interest only, meaning I only pay interest on the money. And he usually give me a term of 2 to 3 years, because most of the time I borrow his money, I use it for long term. So the key to your finding money to invest in real estate is you got to ask. You got to go on the internet. You got to do some research. The last one that I would tell you about, which has worked well for a lot of people, is investor groups, where you put a number of your friends together. I have a guy that lends me money. He's a real estate broker, and him and his friends buy in St. Louis. This is where he's from. He doesn't live there anymore, but his friends live there. So they pool their money and they started buying duplexes and fourplexes and smaller properties. Why? Because he's in his mid-30s and that's all they can afford, right? So how did they get the money? They pooled their money together. They all have work that they do. They all have different professions, and they put their money together to buy properties. That's on a small scale. Now I'm going to tell you about another person that works for me that manages 2,800 units for a investment group, okay? And she helps me on the side with my property. That group are multi-millionaires, super rich. Guess what? They didn't start out that way. None of us did, and you won't either, okay? And what they did was they pooled their money together and they pooled their intellectual property. That means your mind, your knowledge. And so one of them was really savvy in investing. One of them was savvy in management and running operations. And one of them had a lot of money and wasn't really a real estate person. But the three of them got together and they created this synergy where they could invest in properties, and they started buying properties. Today, they own thousands of units all over the Western United States, from Texas all the way up to Washington, down into Arizona, California, all over. How do you get money to invest in real estate? You go out and you talk to people, you ask, and you start. Whether it's government grants, private money, other money like Chase, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, US Bank, typical mortgages, or whether it's investing with your friends and family. There's money sitting around idle, okay? It doesn't do anything sitting there. It should be invested. Money is made to move. In my opinion, the worst thing you could do is get in the state of mind that all you should do is save money and never spend it. You're never going to build any wealth. You're never going to be free doing that. It's very hard to save your way to wealth. You have to make a lot of money to be able to do that. So my personal advice is that if you're going to invest in real estate, invest in things that give you cash flow. If you're not sure how to invest your own money, then invest with people who do this for a living. I invest some of my money with some of the people that you may see on the internet who buy big properties, millions and millions of dollars, 10, 50, 70, $100 million deals. And I invest with them because they need money too, right? In the same way that you think, well, I could use 30, 40, 50,000 maybe to buy a property, or 3, 4, 500 to buy a property. They might need 10 million to buy a property, 4 million, 8 million. See? And where are they going to get it? They're going to go to the marketplace and they're going to buy the money. They're going to buy the money by what? By giving the investors a preferred return of 5, 6, 7% versus having it in the bank and getting what? A quarter point, at the most, right? Some banks, they even charge you to keep your money there. So good luck. Join me on the next video. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment on the video, and I'll see you on the next one.